Hi, I'm Jimmy Barsky and I'm a student at Global Academy.
And I'm Eduarda and I'm also a student at Global Academy.
And today I'm going to be interviewing Eduarda on her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu career. So let's get started. Beyond your name and rank, how would you say your relationship with BJJ has evolved from your first day to where you stand now?
I think on my first day, I was very nervous. I had it, like everyone and myself, I had this expectation. Since I was the coach's daughter, everyone thought, oh yeah, she knows the moves. She's been doing it since birth. And that was obviously a lie. And I was really nervous because I was like, oh, like, what if I go in there and I mess up and everyone laughs at me? Obviously that didn't happen. But I would say I've evolved in the sense of like I'm more confident now, but when I first started I was definitely like so nervous and I was like, oh, I'm gonna mess up and everyone's gonna judge me because they expect me to know everything. But yeah, that was my first little moment.
And if you had to describe BJJ without using the words fighting, grappling or self-defense, how would you define the essence of what you do?
It's definitely a mental game and I think I would call it a puzzle, really. It's all about like knowing what to do next when you get put in a certain position. So I would say, apart from grappling, which I'm not allowed to say, it's definitely a mental game. It's really about what you tell yourself when you go in, because you can fight with whoever and like no matter who they are, what size they are, anything. So it's definitely like a mental game and what you tell yourself before you step on the mat.
And what would you say was your specific tipping point in your life that made you decide to start BJJ?
I would say I've been going to competitions and tournaments my whole life. Because of my dad, and I remember once I was like 5 years old, I can't really remember exactly, and I went to this really big competition. This is when I was still living in Brazil, and my dad was actually on the mats this time. He's usually a judge or a ref, but he was actually on the mats this time fighting, and he actually won a gold medal. And he brought me up on the podium with him, and then like we took a photo biting the medal. And that moment I was like, wait, this is actually kind of fun. Like I kind of want to do this now. And obviously seeing him, I always supported him so much and I thought he was just the coolest person on earth. So I think that moment when I saw him win, because obviously he'd won medals before, but I've never seen it because I was freshly born. So I think for me, when I saw that, I was like, wait, I want to do this. I want to be that person fighting on the mats as well. So yeah.
And BJJ is seen as quite an intimidating sport.
Yeah.
Why do you think the general public thinks that? And is there a different reality to?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's completely different. I think people assume it's like other martial arts and that you can kick and you can do all these sorts of things and punch and that. And it's none of that in jiu-jitsu. It's really like grappling. You're on the floor. You're, like I said, it's a puzzle. You're trying to move around the person. So I don't think it's intimidating at all. Obviously, seeing someone fight is no fun. Like you think they're gonna die next minute. But obviously, jiu-jitsu has so many things in place, and it's really about respect. So, like before a lesson even starts, you have to bow before you get on the mat. You have to like greet your sensei. So I wouldn't say it's intimidating. I think everyone on the mats has so much respect. They're never gonna hurt you on purpose. So definitely not intimidating. I think it's more of like a game.
And looking back on things, what would you say is the most absurd BJJ moment you've had?
Well, I remember once I was teaching. I recently started teaching with my dad, who's a sensei. And before the lesson starts with the kids, I teach kids from like 5 to 14. And the kids were all lined up waiting. And we had like 15 minutes before the lesson started. And my dad was like, okay, let's warm you up. Because I don't do the warm-ups with them. So he goes, okay, let's warm up. So we did like a little grappling session. And before, like 5 minutes before the lesson started, he decided that it was a good time to put me in air jail. So I was there, and all these kids are meant to look up to me, and they're meant to take me seriously and respect me. And now they see that coach dangling in the air, and I couldn't do anything, like, because my dad's so much taller than me. I was trying to hit him, like, do anything, but I promise you, I was dangling, like, I had no control of my body. So I think that's the moment that I was like, hey, what am I doing in my life? What's happening, and why am I in the air?
And we have 2 pieces of equipment behind us. Yeah. Could you first explain what they are?
Okay, so in jiu-jitsu, you have to wear gi, or you can do no gi. This is a rash guard. You can usually wear it under the gi as well, because gi is like a bit rough on your skin. But yeah, you can do no gi or gi. It's different competitions, different level of tournaments. It's a bit more difficult when it's no gi, in my opinion.
And if you had to pick for the rest of your life,
okay,
what would you choose?
Definitely gi. I think gi, not only is it easier in my opinion, because no gi, it's like you can't really grip on anything and the person's slipping and sliding and it's a lot of adrenaline. I think no gi is more technical and you have to know where to grip and where to move, so definitely gi.
And which submission, if you had to pick one, or position, would you pick to be your favourite?
Ooh, I think my favourite submission is an armbar. I think chokes are fun to do, but I also kind of feel bad when I'm doing them. So I think armbar, because it's like really technical, and like the way you actually get there and I have to like pull the person's arm and apply pressure, definitely my favourite.
And how would you say your A game in BJJ has shifted over the years, and what does that say about how you've changed as a person?
I think I take jiu-jitsu more like a task and like a mental sort of challenge, instead of seeing it like, oh, okay, I'm going to go do this sport and I'm going to have this rush of adrenaline and start fighting people. So I think I've grown in the sense of like, I have a lot more patience now. Instead of like, you know, people say think before you speak, I think before I do. So now I think I've grown in the sense where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to rush this technique. I'm going to do it properly so I can actually have the advantage after.
And one final question for you.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice you would give to yourself on the day that you earned your first stripe?
Ooh, definitely take it humbly, but have a lot of confidence behind what you've done. Especially for me, my dad's very harsh. Since he's my coach, he always tells me he doesn't want nepotism in the sport. So he's like, if anyone sees you with a black belt, I want them to know that you earned that black belt. My dad's even already bought my black belt for me and I'm nowhere near it. So he knows I'm going to get there, but he's quite harsh with me. So I would say when I first like got a stripe, I'm like, okay, whatever I did, I earned it like with all my hard work. So I would say definitely take it humbly, because there's people above you always. But always have like that moment of like, okay, I clearly did something and I worked hard enough to get this strap, so it's worth it.
I think that is all. Thank you very much, Eduarda.
Thank you.